Hello again, everyone. This is Zombie Kids Rule, and I'm back with another sorry, I did that again. I'm back with another RPG Maker MZ tutorial video. Getting a little confused with my Steam Deck gameplay videos and these RPG Maker tutorials. So I will just do my caveat real quickly here. I have said this in some of my previous videos. I don't spend a lot of time building fancy maps and things because right now I am only focused on functionality. I'm focused on learning what works and how to incorporate it and how to improve upon it and what doesn't work and things like that. And so, for me, I'm in the stage of figuring out what works. As far as options go, what can I actually build? What can I actually do beyond what is in the out of the box experience of just clicking on radial buttons in the menus and just kind of going from there, while I'm also contemplating the totality of the game that I want to build. And then for me, maps come later. Maps come at the end. Quite frankly, functionality comes first, and then the pretty stuff comes afterwards. So I just want to get that out of the way. So this video is going to be, I think, the fourth now in the player-driven portal type system, and I think this is the last one before I do a consolidated one. I'm working on a consolidated event where, regardless of the options that you allow for your player, it's all driven by the same type of common event or common events plural. So that will be forthcoming. But this one I want to do is using skill, or I call it a spell, but it is using the skill. And of course, a skill in the database, you can call it anything you want. You can change it for purposes of your game. It can be abilities, which could encompass talents and traits and skills and spells and whatever you want it to be. Um, I also I also left this event only half done, partially done, because I wanted to demonstrate what happens if you don't account for all of the contingencies that might be experienced in your game, and what will end up happening, whether it be unintentional and the game still plays, or I've also experienced ones where you end up getting an error and the game crashes because of an unintended consequence. So let me show you what this is doing in the game first. So yep, I'm going to go ahead and save that. Let me show you what's happening in the game, and we'll just disregard all the extra things that appear on this screen, because I just keep building things and building things and building things, so, as I experiment. So I have to go down here and get my items first. Okay. All right. Now, the one I'm going to show is this is the skill driven one. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to skill, and I'm going to select the first party member, read. Okay. And now there's a bunch of stuff here because, again, I've been experimenting with things like inspect and pick lock and disarm and scry and all this other stuff. So I'm working on a door and chest system for traps and locks and things like that. So anyway, the one I'm going to use here is portal, and it behaves very similarly to some of the other ones that I've already shown. Would you like to set a portal or return to portal? And if I select return, it should tell me you don't have one set yet. Okay, so it automatically gives me a chance. I'm going to set the portal, and it just did it. It didn't give me any text. I just did it, right? Because I didn't set it up any other way. Now, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to change the formation, and I'm going to move read to the second slot now. Okay. And then I'm going to go up to skill, and I'm going to do, and read is going to cast that again. So read is going to cast portal, and read now is going to return to portal. And we jump back over, okay, just like we should have. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to go over here, and Priscilla is going to, whoops, so yeah, Priscilla is going to do something. So she's in slot 1 now, and she's going to try to return to portal. Nope, you don't have a portal set. So she's going to go ahead and set portal. So now she has a portal set. Go up here. And I'm going to change Priscilla's position to down here with Michelle. So now Priscilla is in the 4th slot. We're still going to go. Priscilla is still going to do this casting. Okay. And she's going to return to portal. And sure enough, we returned. Okay. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to stay right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Gail. Okay. Gail is number 3, right? Or actually, you know what? Let's do Michelle. Michelle is number 1 now. So we're going to click Michelle. Michelle has the portal, right? Would you like to set or return a portal? And I'm going to try to set a portal. Now, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't tell me, right? So I'm going to go over here, and we're going to see if Michelle can return to portal. Okay. So return to portal. Nothing happened. Okay, nothing happened. Because this event is not set up to recognize anyone other than the first and second actors in your database. So it doesn't matter where those actors appear in the formation, because Reed went from position 1 to position 2, and Priscilla went from, position 2 to position 1 down to position 4. Doesn't matter. This event is working off the actor IDs, right? So the actors in the database, not the player, not the party members. So you can move them around, but because I only set up the event for actors 1 and 2, the other actors, they don't do anything. Okay, so it won't work for actors, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many actors you have in your database. And then that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll exit there. And now let me show you how this is working. So the first thing, of course, is the skill. So I set up a skill called Portal. And of course, give it an icon, give it a description. I made it special. Now, you do have one thing you have to be careful of, and of course, you can add skill types. You can break out more skill types by going to the system. Wait a second, is it systems or system 2? Where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. You can go to terms. No, not terms. Types. Sorry, types. So under types, you can add all the skill types you want here, right? So you can add more skill types that make sense for whatever it is you're trying to do. And you can change all of these values. You can add, you can delete, you can rename whatever you want. The reason I point this out is because you have to make sure that when you're building this, or especially when you're testing, if you make a skill and you give it a type, then you have to make sure that the class has that, right? So swordsman has the add skill type special here, right? Because the actor, right, Reed is a swordsman. So, and Priscilla's a swordsman, Gail is a martial artist, Michelle's a martial artist. So if you're testing something and you're making a skill and you give it a special or magic type or whatever, or maybe you create your own, you've got to go back and make sure that whoever you're testing with, your classes, have that that skill type so they can actually use it, right? So that's the first thing. So skill type is important. I didn't give it any MP at TP right now because, again, I'm just testing the raw functionality. There's no scope. I did change this to menu screen, so I will mention this too. I did go back and check my other teleporting things, my other portal things, to see if I could use them in combat, because I was using always here, and seeing if it would let you do it while you were in combat. It doesn't. It actually freezes the game, because when you go to use the skill, it will let you use the skill, but you'd have to figure out a way to use the skill to use your portal and exit battle processing. So the way I just had it set up, it doesn't do that. So if you're in a battle, if you're in battle processing and you go to use one of those things that allows you to use a portal, it doesn't exit battle processing. So that would be something different you'd have to figure out. So I just changed this to menu screen. Didn't mess with any of this stuff down here or up here, just have it call the common event, right? So I made a common event portal spell. So I mentioned the skill type in the actors. We didn't have to do any of this stuff. So common events. So portal spell. Now, this, again, this is a different way of doing it from, remember, the scroll or the amulet or the mark and recall. So the first thing this event is doing, again, it's a common event, which means we can call it from whenever we want. There is no trigger, meaning that it's not auto running, it's not a parallel run. It doesn't do anything until we call it, right? So you go to use the skill, you're calling the common event, or you're in another event and you're calling the common event. So the first thing I do is I have a control variable here, which is last actor ID is equal to the last actor ID to act. So again, created a variable, select that variable, set it to game data, and then it is last as the option, last actor ID to act. So I've highlighted this before in other tutorials. You can select last item used, right? Last skill ID used, right? Last actor ID. So in this one, you're using the last actor ID to act, right? Whoever's the last one using the skill. And we're setting that number to this variable last actor ID. And in the database, the actors are, right, Reed is 1, Priscilla's 2, Gail is 3, Michelle's 4. So when we're looking at actor IDs, that's the IDs it's referring to. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least from the menus, okay? So we have our variable set to the last actor. We then have just a text link. Would you like to set a portal or return to portal? We have our return label, right? Our label return, because we will be jumping back to this. We will be jumping to label sometimes. Then we have our choices, right? Which I've shown in other tutorials. So we have choice set portal, return to portal, never mind. Your default is set portal, your cancel is never mind. And then when you select those, it automatically does the when, right? When set portal, when return to portal, when never mind. Now, when set portal, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to check and see which actor is acting. So a conditional branch. If last actor ID, which is variable 80, if that equals to 1, meaning it equals to actor 1, which is Reed, right? So that's the first thing it's going to check. If that is true, if the actor ID is 1 for Reed, then it's going to check, just like in some of the other tutorials I showed, do we have a portal? So I created another variable, player1 portal map ID. So player1, it could be the same. You could name it actor1, right? Actor1 portal map ID. Is it greater than 0? Because as we discussed in the other tutorials, in order to transfer a player, you need to know the map ID, the X location, and the Y location, right? And we talked about the fact that every one of these maps over here has a number, right? So the one we're on right now is 6, so the map ID is 6. And then over here, this 15.9, that's the X and Y locations, right? So the first thing it's going to do when you go to set a portal, it's going to say, okay, who's acting, number 1. So if the last actor ID is 1, meaning Reed, I'm going to check, is this variable, player1 portal map ID, greater than 0? If it's greater than 0, then that means we set a portal. We set it on some map somewhere, map 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There is no map 0. So if it's 0, that means we never set a portal yet. And then if it is greater than 0, it's going to warn us, hey, you already have a portal set. Do you wish to, set a new portal? And then you get your choices again, yes or no, right? We've seen this before in the previous tutorials. So when yes, we're going to jump to label player1 portal set. That's down here. We're going to jump forward to actually set the portal. When no, we're going to jump backwards to label return. And that lets us make another choice, right? And then, of course, we have this just because we're jumping to it. And then this is just setting the variables, right? So player1 portal map ID, player1 portal location X, player1 portal location Y. And again, you could name these anything you want. Actor 1, right? Actor 2, Actor 3, whatever makes sense to you. And you are setting them, right? You select your variable, set it to game data, and I've shown you this before, other, which is map ID, right? So you can pick all this. So we're going to use map ID for the first one. Then these ones are the game data, and we're going to select character, player, and then map X or map Y. You can also do direction, screen, and junk like that, but we just need the map X and map Y. So that's what this is too, right? And so, and I've showed before how you actually get into those from the event, right? A lot of people will say right click and click new. I don't know why. You can just double click and it does the same thing. Page 1 is where we're doing our show text. Page 1 is where we're doing our show choices, right? Page 1 is where we're setting our control variables. Page 1 is where we're doing our conditional branches. If this variable, right, is set to something, right, and we can also do our else branches if we want to. Page 1 is where we're doing our labels. Page 1 is where we're doing our jump to labels. Okay, so anyway, so that's that first person. Then now it's going to check the next actor. If last actor ID is equal to 2, right? So if the last person acting was actor 2, meaning Priscilla, then I'm going to do the exact same thing. So you can just copy and paste. Once you do this, right, this whole thing, if last actor ID equals 1, all the way down to setting the portal, you can just copy this and then paste it again. So if I get down here, right, so this is if I'm doing the if it equals 2, right before when return to portal, I can just click here and I can paste. Whoops. I can click here and paste, and now I've pasted that whole section. And if I wanted to add the third actor, I would just go through and make all the changes. So edit, I'm going to make that a constant of 3. So if the last actor ID is 3, then I'd have to go through and I'd also have to unfortunately I'd have to make new variables, right? Because the only variables I made were player 1, player 2. So if I wanted to add to this, I'd have to go to another screen, and I'd have to go like here, maybe here, and then I would change my variable, right? So keeping with the scheme, it'd be player 3, portal, map ID, right? And then there'd be that, and then sorry, it's that's a conditional. Yeah, no, that's right. That's a conditional branch, right? So if that, right, is greater than 0, so I'm just editing this, then it shows me my text, yes or no. Then I'd have to change my label, right? Jump to label. So I'm going to change this to edit, jump to label player 3 portal set, right? And then down here, I'd have to change that to player 3, right? And so I changed this value, I changed that value, didn't have to change this, didn't have to change the choices, did change the portal, didn't have to, the label, didn't have to change that, change that. Now this is where I'd have to change this, right? So I'd have to change this to this. So there's my map ID. Player 3 portal map ID is set to map ID, right? So I don't have to change anything else. Here, I'd have to edit this, and I would have to make a new variable, right? So player 3 portal location X, I think is what I was calling them, I think. And then it's game data map X of player. So yeah, see, I did that, right? So then I would just click here, and I would edit this, and I would change this to, oh, whoops, what happened? Uh-oh, I messed something up. Let me go here. So player 3 portal location Y, okay, set, okay, there's that. And this one I must have clicked something wrong by mistake. Click there, player 3 portal location X, Okay, map X. Okay, so now I've got port player 3, player 3, player 3, player 3, map ID XY, map ID XY. Okay, and then that was it, right? Now, I kind of messed up there because I didn't realize when I did this that when I copied and pasted it, right? See, this is another mistake that I made. This is what was copied and pasted. So I should have changed these to a 3, right? Instead of changing this, because now this was supposed to be 2, right? And now now it goes from last ID actor 1, last ID actor 3, back to last ID actor 1. So actually I screwed up there. So I'm going to cancel, discard changes, yes. I'm going to go back into the database, and it's set to last ID 1, last ID 2, and then that's it. So yeah, it's just it's an example of how you have to be careful. When I copied and pasted, I thought I was on the material that was pasted, and I wasn't. I was up on this one up here, which was a mistake. But anyway, I fixed it. Okay, now, so a lot of this stuff is just copying and pasting, changing some of the information, and then you're done. Now, that was in theory, to make this work for all of your actors, you would have to have one of these, so this highlighted portion, you'd have to have one of those for every actor that could possibly be in your party. So if your game has 12 actors that can join the party, you'd have to do this 12 times, and each one of them could have their own portal, right? And nobody else reuses their portal because it goes by the actor ID, not the party member, right? Whoever's in the party. So there's that. And then down to return portal would be the same thing. It goes through the same steps. If the last actor ID equals 1, which is read, then I'm going to check, is the map ID for player 1 0, meaning that we never set a portal before. And then if true, we're going to tell the text you haven't had a portal, and then we'll return them. We'll jump to label return, right, which is all the way up here, right? So we jump all the way back here so we can start our choice again, set portal, return portal. Else, right? So if it's not 0, right? If it's greater than 0, then we're going to transfer the player, right? We did that in the previous tutorials. So instead of doing direct designation and picking a map, we're going to do 3 variables: the ID, the X, and the Y, and we'll just choose them, right, as appropriate. Okay, and then that's it for that one. And then you repeat it again. So everything here you get repeated here. So if last actor ID equals 2, then we're gonna check if player 2 portal map ID is 0, then we'll give them the information. We'll jump to label return. Else, we're going to transfer the player to player 2 portal map ID, player 2 portal location X, player 2 portal location Y, and then we end. Again, if you wanted to add another actor, right, you would just copy, and this time, let's see if we do it right, paste, right? So make sure I'm down here, and then there's my 2. So I'd want to make sure that I was changing this one to be the player 3, right? Player 3, player 3, player 3, all the way through it. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and then never mind just ends. Okay, and so again, this is not very hard. You set a variable to the last actor ID to act, right? You ask them what they're doing. You set a return label because we're going to jump back here. You give them their choices, right? Set portal, return to portal, never mind. When it's set portal, in this instance, you go through each actor that could possibly be in the party. If variable 80, last actor ID, is equal to 1, meaning the first actor in your database, read, then check to see if there's a portal set, player 1, portal map ID, and then if it's greater than 0, right, we do our warning text, then we give them a choice, yes or no. When yes, we're going to jump to the label to set the portal. When no, we're going to go backwards to start over. And then down here, we're setting our portal, right? So with this one, you'd have to have three variables. Doing it this way, you'd have to have three variables for every actor that could possibly be in your party for your game. And then each actor can have their own portal set to be used. Okay. And then you have to go through each one of these, right? If last actor ID equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many actors you have, and you go through the exact same steps. Okay. And then, like I said, you have to have three variables for each one. Then when you do the return to portal, you're gonna essentially do the same thing. You're gonna check the last actor ID, and you'd have to have this block of text for, or I should say, this block of event commands for every single actor that could possibly be in the party in your game. And you go through the whole thing. If it's 1, check their variable for their map ID to see if it's 0, give them a warning text, return jump to label return. Either else, we're going to transfer them to whatever the values are in their map ID, their X and Y locations. And then you repeat it for actor 2. And then you'd repeat it for actor 3 and actor 4 and actor 5 and actor 6. And when it's never mind, it just exits. It's done. Okay, so that is the common event. And yeah, it could get pretty lengthy depending on how many actors could possibly be in the party. And some could come, some could go. You could pick some up, get rid of some. But the nice thing about this is that each actor that could possibly be in your party can have a portal set, and even if they leave and come back, that portal's still going to be there. Those variables are still going to be there if they set a portal. And you can move those actors around in the formation, and it's not going to change anything, because it doesn't matter if Reed as actor 1 is in the first position, or whether he's in the third or the fourth position. It doesn't matter in the party. He is still actor 1, and this is always going to go by who the actor is. Okay. And the other thing is that, remember, the only people who can do this are the people who have the skills, right? So whoever has this skill portal, and it's assigned to their class, right? I'm sorry, the skill type has to be assigned to them, but then they also have to have they have to learn the skill, right? Right now, you don't see the skill listed here because I forgot to show you that. That was the other thing I had to do. Sorry, that was my mistake. Their skill is not listed here because it's not part of their class. Instead, what's happening, discard changes. I don't know if I made any changes I want to keep. What I forgot to show you was when I opened the treasure chest, right? When I opened this chest, one of the things that we did here was change skill, entire party plus portal. That means the entire party, right? So you can choose an actor, right? You can choose one of your actors, or you can choose entire party, and then you can learn or forget a particular skill, right? So that's what I did first, was instead of having portal as being part of their class, right? A skill that they automatically learn, or they learn at a certain level. This is one that they learned through this interaction with this treasure chest, and I just did that for testing purposes. But that's another piece to it, right? Is you have to make sure that the only people who can do this common event is a actor or a party member who has been given that particular skill of portal, right? And so if the class doesn't have it, then you have to give it to the actor in order to be able for them to be able to use it. All right. So I apologize for forgetting to show that. So first thing I did was I by interacting with the treasure chest, I gave them the skill that was necessary in order to use portal, and then that cast the common event, right? And that's it. Okay, so again, the whole purpose behind this one is not only showing a way that you can use a skill, a spell, whatever you want to call it, and then you can build a common event where um, obviously the only people calling the common event are those that know the skill, but then it's built where um, it accommodates every actor. And if it just so happens that when I was showing this, right, and you go into the menu and you select skill, even though all of your players show up, if you haven't given this skill to one of those players, like say Gail or Michelle, then they're not going to be able to choose this. They're not even going to be able to get into the menu option to choose this. The only reason I was able to when I showed this in testing is that I gave all of the party Portal. I gave all of the party the skill, which means they could all choose it. But when I built the event, because I only did if last actor ID is 1 and if last actor ID is 2, that means I only built this so that Reed or Priscilla could use it. I didn't accommodate for all the other actors. So even though they have the skill, when they go to do something, the event it's going to go through the steps, it's going to go through the motions, but it's not going to actually do anything, right? And so anyway, so just that's what I wanted to show, is that you have to plan for these sorts of things, and that you have to make sure you cover all of the options that could possibly exist. And anyway, this is just a way that allows all the actors, potential actors, to have different portals, right? To have different portals. All right. Well, anyway, I hope that's helpful, folks. Again, I am still working on an event that is kind of bringing all the portal stuff together, and all these different concepts together. Before I do that, I will probably post some other tutorials about some other things that I was building, pieces that I was building for that larger event, that I've been messing around with, as well as some other things. But I will get to it. I promise. I'll keep trying to get these things out, as I learn new things. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. If these videos are helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, getting notifications, leaving comments. If you think you can use this, if this is going to help you out, hey, leave a comment and let me know. If you can think of another way to do this, by all means, let me know. If you have a question about something, post away. If I wasn't clear, I apologize. I'll try to clarify it for you. If I forgot to show something, right? I forget that sometimes. Hopefully I don't forget to show it. If you have any requests, feel free to post a comment, and I'm happy to give something a try, and then post a video of it if I can figure it out. So anyway, again, I just hope these are helpful, because I'm so thankful for all the people who posted videos and tutorials and everything else, that I'm learning off of, that I have gone through and I've watched, and I'm learning the basics of this and then building on that foundation. So I'm so grateful to the other people who have taken the time to make tutorials and to help other people. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great afternoon. Until the next time, happy gaming, happy game developing, and I will talk to everybody later. Goodbye.